Welcome back to the NFToyz podcast. I'm Allison.
And I'm Son.
And we are your hosts, bringing you all sorts of NFT news for this week.
And awkwardness, too.
Oh, yes.
I realized that. We're so awkward.
We are here with the awkward news.
But we got to do this more often so that we're less awkward.
This is
hopefully.
episode 2 of
Season 2. Yep.
So everything we're talking about this week, almost everything, is we're highly focused on OpenSea this week. It's all OpenSea all the time.
But you know what, though? I think it's good because they're they're the biggest marketplace right now in NFT. And it seems like from outside, they're doing a lot of work. They're building in the bear, because we're in the bear market right now. So
Right.
which is good to see.
It is encouraging because everybody's always afraid, and this is another thing we're going to talk about later today, that we're in the bear market, NFTs are dead, nothing's happening. We should all just escape while we still have time, jump off the ship because it's sinking. But it's not. There's a lot of building happening. So the first thing we wanted to bring up is this new OpenRarity protocol that OpenSea has. And this is a way to a standardized way to calculate rarity for NFT projects. So when you look at all of these generative NFT, 10K PFP NFT projects, one of the very important things for each NFT is to know how rare it is, because a lot of them are going to be very common. Those are not going to be worth very much relatively. And then you have some that are super, super rare, and those are the ones that bring in the big bucks. And you kind of want to know when you have a rare NFT. But the problem up until now is that everybody, all of the marketplaces, all of the rarity calculation websites, everything like that, they all have their own way of calculating rarity. So you don't really know if, what is the one true calculation of rarity? Am I number 1? Am I number 57? Am I number 265? Who knows? Because everybody calculates it differently.
Right.
And the whole point with OpenSea having this open rarity thing is that everybody can use the same protocol. It's open source, it's transparent, it's replicatable, so that all of these websites can all use the same algorithm. And everybody can know once and for all which NFTs are the most rare.
Yeah, and I can definitely attest to that because in the past, during the bull market, the NFT bull market, when you have all these new collection coming out every week, actually almost every day at the peak of it, and,
every hour.
And I mean, I didn't really participate too much in it because it's a highly speculative bubble, and I mean, as we can see, hindsight, it was, except
for launching the sausages.
Yeah, except for launching. Actually, now that I talk about it, maybe I should, go put the sausage into.
I was going to say that might be a fun way to try out this open rarity to see how it's ranking your sausages.
Yeah, how does OpenSea rank my sausage?
Doesn't every man want to know?
Exactly. So so I can definitely attest to that because just poking around, having fun, just looking at all these new collection being launched this past year. And you go on OpenSea, they have their own sort of rarity. Actually, I don't know if OpenSea actually declare what rarity you have, but if you go on to like IC Tools, like one of these NFT trading software, everyone has their own ranking. So you have an NFT, you go and you look and you're like, oh, I'm ranked 200 out of 5,000 or 10,000, and then you go on a different tool and it's like now you're in the thousands, and it's like, oh, great. So
I thought I had a rare one.
Yeah. So what exactly does, how valuable is my NFT? And that's always the big questions, because the rare one, they can sell for so much more than the standard one, the common one. I mean, maybe 20x, 50x, maybe.
I mean, depending on the project.
Yeah. Like how hype the project is. Sometimes can be 100x, maybe something. One of these, Bored Apes or something can be sold for, 500 ETH, and some of them sold for, much less than 100 ETH at one point. So I think that's it's definitely cool to see, and that's how I think we can tell for any industry and how mature it is as things become standardized. And I'm glad to see that happening, and I'm glad to see that OpenSea is taking initiative to work with a bunch of different bigger tools and you know, founders of different projects to kind of standardize what is rare, what is not rare. And like I said, I kind of want to see you know, put my sausage.
We should try it on the Sausage Party Club.
Yeah, put the sausage through the machine, you know, see what see what comes out of it.
Sounds painful. I mean, I wouldn't know, but
yeah. Me neither. Actually, well, I mean, I don't want to know. But yeah, so one of these days we'll check it out when we have time. Put the sausage through the machine.
Never. And
see what it comes out to be. But I'm glad to see that.
All right, OpenSea Part 2. So the other things that OpenSea is doing is bringing other blockchains onto OpenSea, which is kind of exciting to see. Yeah. So Solana is definitely one of the really big ones that is now being auto-indexed onto OpenSea. So, and this is a big deal because Solana didn't really have a way, a standardized way for NFTs to be created up until recently, right?
Well, they have a standardized way to create the NFT, individual NFT, but up until recent, they have a more standardized way to create collection of NFT.
Right.
So allows somebody to, because in the past, I remember back when, you know, NFT and Solana first became a thing, these collection, these 10K or 5K PFP, people would, because the way that NFT works on Solana is very different than it works on Ethereum or Polygon, EVM base. So these NFT are individual, and they're all kind of isolated from one another. So what happened with these collection is that somebody has to kind of, when they mint them, they have to record them down into like a text file, and then they get
very centralized.
Yeah, and then they check it into GitHub, and that's how marketplace would retrieve these data, right? They would go through these GitHub or something like that, or somebody submitting these massive lists. But up until recent, they have standardize a way to kind of have another NFT called collection NFT, and all these NFT that lives under it reference it. So now there's a way for marketplace to go through these collection and look at the collection NFT and be you know, and look through it and see.
So there is actually a decentralized way to define a collection now on Solana.
Essentially, so it makes it easier for marketplace like OpenSea to index these things, to go through these lists, and that's really cool to see. And Solana has actually been on OpenSea for maybe, I don't know, 6 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, something like that. Times is just a mystery to me right now. But which is kind of it's, I think when Allison said, you know, this will make it more decentralized, and OpenSea said this too, is that in the past, when you have a collection, when you launch a collection in Solana, you have to go through this form to submit it to OpenSea to say, hey, this is my collection, add me to your marketplace.
So manual.
Yeah, exactly. And
whereas for a very long time, if you're on Ethereum, it just automatically, your NFTs exist on OpenSea.
Once you deploy the contract, you mint the NFT, you can go to OpenSea and, you know, you have your contract address, bam, it's there, right? It's really simple. So there's no, and that's what makes it decentralized and permissionless, right? You don't need a permission to list to have your NFT in the marketplace. And now Solana is getting the same benefit, the same sort of decentralization, permissionlessness. That's going permissionless, new word of the day. So yeah, so which is really cool, and I kind of want to try it out one of these days too. Like I said, everything is one of these days when we find time again, to try it out, launch a collection, deploy a collection, and see if OpenSea, see if it works that way. But it's really cool to see though that they're doing it.
And Solana is not the only blockchain that is now on OpenSea. Arbitrum, which is a layer 2 blockchain, is also now on OpenSea.
Yeah,
which is exciting.
Yeah, this is really cool to see that. And Arbitrum is one of Arbitrum and Optimism are the two biggest layer 2 on Ethereum, and the EVM. So everything you launch, deploy on Ethereum, you can deploy on Arbitrum or Optimism. And what's cool about them layer 2 is that it's cheaper to do transaction, blah, 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 blah. We won't go into the detail on that. You can probably read it up. But what's really cool about Arbitrum is that it's one of the more secure layer 2, one of the older ones. And as you can see, I pulled that up. If you're watching this on YouTube, I have a collection that
we're looking at the Small Brains
this is
collection by Treasure DAO.
Yeah, this is one of the first major. This is like, some people will kind of equate this to the CryptoPunk of Arbitrum, like the first biggest collection, PFP collection on the blockchain. And disclaimer, I actually have two of these because I was one of these projects, the Treasure DAO, when they first came about, they were moving. It was actually came out of loot.
Oh.
Yeah, it came out of loot. So if you were to stake loot and N, remember Project N?
Well, you have this was all about a year ago.
Yeah. Oh my God, it felt like 5 years at least.
It was only a year ago.
And I had all those. I had a bunch of those NFT that I didn't sell. In hindsight, maybe I should have just sold them too. But
there's a lot of hindsight happening here.
Yeah. That's what happened when the bull market kind of ended, and then you're in the bear market. And it's like, oh man, I should have just sold everything.
Should have sold all of that. Yeah.
And we're experiencing that with the stock market right now too. I'm sure a lot of people are like, I should have just sold everything like 6 months ago. So back then with those projects, you stake these NFT. And you get these magic, and they moved the project over to Arbitrum because it was cheaper to transact, and they wanted to build a game. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna, join in, stake these things, get some magic moved over, get some free, NFT just for fun. And the project kind of blew up, and it went through this whole massive bubble. And it was interesting to see, the amount of magic I had and how much money it could have been, and then now how much it's worth now, which is not that much anymore. So because it's, it happens at every bubble. So which is really cool. I still keep these NFT because it's just, these are just fun.
Did the game ever happen, or did it just turn into a big speculative thing?
The game, actually they did launch a game, but it was never really, like every Web3 game that happened in the past year or two. It's just kind of like a lot of promise.
It's a game.
Yeah, it's like a game of more like, okay, now you have these NFT, and then you stake them, and then you get some money. It's very
a loose definition of a game.
Yeah. It's not like a game where you can just like actually do things and play things. You can stake these. You can go on, put these NFT on Quest to send them to Quest to get more NFT. And stuff like that. It's a very basic game, and it's still going right now. I haven't really keep up with it in the past maybe 3 months and 4 months with good reasons. With good reason, right?
You mean you didn't have a ton of time on your hand taking care of a newborn? What?
No, of course not.
What?
But yeah, so I still keep these, and these are cool, and it's really cool to see them on OpenSea. So you can click on one of these, you can see that you can actually buy and sell these now on OpenSea. And what's really cool, I looked into this, is that you can see because everything on the blockchain is verifiable, and everything is, these records keep tracked on the blockchain, right? So I'm glad to see that OpenSea index these transactions that I'm showing on the screen right now, and the price is you can buy a magic on Arbitrum, but it's really cool. That too bad I don't think you can OpenSea allow you to buy or sell with using magic, which is their currency. It's the ERC20 token, so it's a fungible token on Arbitrum, but it indexes all these in detail of how much it was sold for back in the day and how much it's worth right now in Ethereum, in ETH. So yeah, it's
pretty cool to see these blockchains getting pulled into OpenSea and everything's kind of expanding.
Yeah, and definitely, like everyone say, you know, I think the future is gonna be multi-chain. There's gonna be a lot of, you know, blockchain. Each of them is gonna have their own sort of niche, the uniqueness, their niche, their market. You know, like, you know, games will be on layer 2 possibly because it's cheaper to transact, and you know, maybe cheaper things go on Polygon because it's so cheap to do anything on Polygon. Solana, same thing too. But Solana is doing a pretty good job recently with just all these bigger collection are doing a lot of money in volume.
May have to dedicate an episode one of these days to talk about what NFTs are happening on Solana.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, what that market is looking like.
Yeah, that's
because
a good
I'm
point.
Sure comparing, like, how does it look on Ethereum? How does it look on Solana, Polygon, Arbitrum? You know, I think it would be interesting to look into what is happening on each chain and how it differs from the other chains and what kind of the specialty of that chain is.
Yeah.
So that might be something that you may see on this podcast in the future. We'll see.
We'll get to it.
We'll see
get to it
when we have time.
Yep.
That should be our when we have time.
When we have time. That's our, you know,
phrase. Our catchphrase.
Yeah, we'll just put it on YouTube. Just when we have time. Every time we say disclaimer, when we have time.
When we have time. The last thing we wanted to talk about today is how the market is doing, kind of a state of the industry. And I thought we were done with OpenSea, but we're back to OpenSea. We are still talking about OpenSea.
They're the biggest marketplace for NFTs.
It kind of makes sense, because if you want to know how the industry is doing as a whole, you're kind of going to look on OpenSea and see how many transactions are happening, how much money is changing hands, all of that. So it makes sense.
Yeah. So according to Fortune.com, trading volume for NFT marketplace OpenSea is down 99% in USD from the May peak. And May that felt maybe like 3 years for us. I'm still reading the headline, and I'm just thinking, like, that's only May. It felt like it was been
back in May. We were streaming. On our NFToyz Twitch.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. We were doing our Sundays with Sun and Day podcast.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Remember we had another podcast. We
had another podcast.
Yeah, we did. We had what, like 5 or 6 episodes of that.
Maybe we should. Well, hey, you know, if we, you know, continue it or start it back up again, we'll let you know, and you can go listen to that one where you can listen about us rambling about, instead of NFT, it would just be about life.
Always rambling about something.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking at this headline now, and unfortunately I didn't think to research this before we started recording today's podcast. Oops. But it's interesting to look at that in USD because from May, Ethereum is also down. So a lot of that decline in USD can possibly be accounted for in terms of Ethereum being worth a lot less. Yeah,
I think so. Well, let's just okay.
I'm kind of curious.
You're good at math, Allison. Here's a quick math problem. Yes. If ETH, as I'm also trying to remember how much ETH was worth in May, but let's just say we're down 50% in ETH, and this headline is saying it's 99% down in USD.
Wouldn't that imply that if we calculate actually this down 49%?
Okay, so it's only 50% down, guys. Not that big of a deal.
I might be mathing this wrong.
So if Allison's wrong, leave a comment. Let us know. This is the best way to get people to engage with the podcast, Allison. Just make random quick math.
Make completely absurd claims.
Are you calculating on your computer right now?
No, I am not. I am not. I'm not. I was trying to look to see if there was more information in the article, but then I ran into a block.
Oh, it's okay. It doesn't matter. Just like I said, that's the only way to get more engagement on this podcast.
We're just looking at headlines here. We're not looking at the actual articles. We are pretty much being Twitter.
Yeah, I don't even have access to look at.
No, that's what I'm saying. We're being Twitter. We're looking at the headline and just getting really angry about it, but not actually reading the article.
You? And then people are like, "Did you read the article?" No, I can't afford fortune.com, please.
Please. But regardless of the
So let's
actual
just say
math,
it's only down 50%.
regardless, it's still down a good bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you invest,
I mean,
if you buy,
if you're in the industry, it's not a surprise to hear that we are in a bear market.
yeah.
Did you know we're in a bear market? So yes, we are pretty sure we're in a bear market, both in terms of cryptocurrency values and in terms of NFT trading.
Yeah.
Neither of those are really a surprise. But that's not really the point of what we're supposed to be talking about right now. The whole point of this is to say that yes, we are in a bear, but NFTs are not dead.
Yes.
Because there is still
was that the point?
That was actually the point of this, is to say that yes, everything is terrible, but the industry is not dead. There's still a lot of things happening in the industry. There's a lot of investment happening. There's a lot of development happening.
There's a lot of people building
There's a lot of people building stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of interesting projects, like and us. There's also a lot of chains are doing a lot of big things. The blockchains, you're seeing a lot from Dapper Labs, you're seeing a lot from Polygon.
But also, you know what? Guess what?
What?
There's even newer blockchain being launched.
That too.
with future NFT market on those future blockchain.
And we're also seeing a lot of big brands doing things.
Yeah.
Which is interesting to me because I kind of feel like this came up right as everybody's saying NFTs are dead. And then it's like, okay, NFTs are dead, but Starbucks, we talked about Starbucks last week, getting into things.
Yeah.
Son is showing on his screen right now, Lamborghini is doing some stuff.
Yeah.
Old Navy did some NFTs. I didn't really look into it, but I got an email earlier this year saying like, you can get in on our NFTs. And I was like, what? What?
I just want to buy some shorts.
Like I am wearing Old Navy right now, but
is my short an NFT?
Maybe.
Oh, NFT shirt. Oh, they didn't. They should have done that, Alison. They missed out.
But there are a lot of big brands, and we have more things that we will talk about in future episodes. But there's a lot of big brands really getting into NFTs, which I think is really interesting because it's kind of becoming more mainstream.
Definitely.
So you're going to see NFT projects, but you're also going to see a lot of things that most people will not realize are NFT projects.
Yeah, they're gonna rebrand, or not rebrand, but they're gonna brand it differently, like Starbucks.
Like the Starbucks thing. Something that we'll probably talk about in a future episode is Universal Studios. There's some stuff happening at Walmart that you may not actually realize are NFTs when you're interacting with them, but they are very big NFT projects. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes as NFTs kind of become more mainstream, but nobody realizes that they are.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be interesting to see what is the market, how the market look like in about like a year or something like that. And speaking of, when Alice said there's a lot of investment being made on these, a lot of people building a bunch of cool things. Everyone is, and that's what's fun about NFT or the blockchain right now, is that everyone is trying to do new, interesting, cool things, exploring this new space. And
I think there's a lot of optimism, no pun intended. But in terms of people saying, oh, hey, I can try new cool stuff. I don't have to do the same old thing that everybody else is doing.
Right.
Because it's kind of not defined of how the industry works yet. It's still such a new industry that you can kind of experiment and try new things and see what sticks.
Yeah, and hopefully you hear from us soon too. We'll be building some stuff too, just for fun, just to explore.
When we have time.
When we have time. Disclaimer at the bottom, when we have time. But speaking of that, this is our RBG Labs. Is it RBG or RBG?
I want to say it's RPG.
RPG? Oh, I never read it that way.
I actually know how it's pronounced? No, I do not. But am I going to say it's RPG Labs?
Yeah, that's next level.
Or it's Arpeggi, I don't know.
Arpeggi, yeah. But it's not even an RPG game or anything like that. It's just, which like, is disappointing. I know, they should have just run with it with the RPG you know, make an RPG game with RBG Labs. But it's actually an open source music creation software that is built on top of the NFT technology, blockchain, and stuff like that. It's really cool. They built such a fun front end for you to create these loops of music. I got a chance to play with it for a little bit when it was in alpha, and it got funding recently. And we'll maybe one of these days when we have time, is that we'll do some sort of you know, we've been talking about, Allison and I've been talking about doing another segment, at least on YouTube, to highlight, to go through, take a deep dive and highlight some of these, most of these new applications.
Kind of show us trying out some of these new projects. So you can kind of get a look into them.
Yeah. And it should be fun for us, and hopefully fun for you guys too, to see some of these cool things that's being done and being built in the bear market right now. So yeah, so that's cool. And this is Animoca is a big brand that got raised 110 million for open. I don't even know what that means, to be honest, you know. But anyways, a lot of investment are happening, and it's good to see. And look,
pretty much the industry is not dead.
Yeah, and Ethereum's up 3% today.
Hey.
After being down, like, I don't know even how much. Significant after the merge. Actually, I think it's been down 20, maybe 30% since the merge of last week. And everyone's like, what happened to the merge? It's supposed to pump. It never happens that way. It's always happened the opposite way of what you think it's gonna do. But yeah, I think that's a wrap for this week.
So pretty much check out OpenSea and the industry is not dead.
Yes.
To summarize,
sums it up.
Today's episode.
Yep. And we'll be back next week with more news, and maybe one of these days we'll do another segment.
When we have time.
When we have time, so you can catch us like twice a week, maybe. I'm not sure if anyone wants to do that.
We'll see.
But yeah, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.